In Cairo HD, we have the concept of completing an appointment, or having an appointment marked as incomplete. The concept of a completed or incomplete appointment is really a check and balance system to make sure that everything that is required of an appointment is being done. There are three requirements that must be met for an appointment to be considered complete in Cairo HD. First, the appointment must exist on the calendar. Second, there must be charges on the patient's ledger. To clarify, this refers to the services the patient received that have been recorded as charges, not a payment on the account. Lastly, a SOAP note must be completed. This means the note must be either saved as a draft or finalized for that visit. These three elements, the appointment, the charges, and the SOAP note, are what Cairo HD uses to determine that an appointment is complete. Your office may define a completed appointment differently based on internal workflows, but these are the system requirements used within Cairo HD. When completing appointments, you have two options. You can manually mark an appointment as completed, or you can turn on the autocomplete feature. To enable autocomplete, navigate to your live location, Settings, Office, Office Configuration, Autocomplete Appointments. The autocomplete feature will only work if, on the day of the appointment, all three requirements are met. The appointment is on the calendar, charges are on the ledger, and a SOAP note is entered, either saved as a draft or finalized, from the SOAP note screen. When working from a SOAP note screen, charges must be present. You can add charges manually using the charge box, or if default services are set up on the patient's case, they will automatically pull over. For example, in this charge box, no service was manually selected, but a default service pulled over automatically because it was set on the patient's case. The important takeaway is that a service must be added, either automatically through default services or manually through the charges box. In patient chart mode, you can manually enter charges under the Notes tab. Here is where the charges box is located. From here, you can click into the charges box to manually add a service or to see default services. So this is where it's at on patient chart mode. You can either submit the note to finalize it or save it as a draft. Both actions meet the requirement as long as they are completed on the same day as the appointment and from a SOAP note screen. Now let's look at what this looks like on provider mode. Once charges are entered, the next step is completing the SOAP note. You can either submit the note to finalize it or save it as a draft. Both actions meet the requirement as long as they are completed on the same date as the appointment and from a SOAP note screen. When these steps are completed, Cairo HD will automatically mark the appointment as complete. On the calendar, completed appointments will appear grayed out, while incomplete appointments will remain in their original color. It's important to note that SOAP notes must be entered through the SOAP note screen. You cannot use the autocomplete feature through the Visits tab. This is still considered editing mode, and it's giving me the prompt that a note is being created from the patient profile. Even if you click Create SOAP Note from there, it does not include the charges box, meaning you cannot add charges in that workflow. Because of this, the recommended workflow is to always use one of the SOAP Note screens when documenting visits and adding charges. You may also have front desk staff manually add charges if needed, but the SOAP Note screen should be your primary workflow. Now, I'm going to turn off autocomplete to demonstrate how to manually complete an appointment. Let's say this appointment has been arrived. I open the SOAP Note, charges pulled over, I reuse the last note, and then submit. On the home screen, the patient will now appear in green, indicating a treated status. You'll also see a dollar icon. This does not mean the patient needs to make a payment. It simply indicates that the patient is ready for checkout. Patients may pay per visit, monthly, or through prepaid plans, so the dollar icon is just a workflow indicator. You may also see a sticky note icon, meaning that a SOAP note has been completed. If you hover over it, it will confirm SOAP complete. At a quick glance, you can verify the requirements. You see the appointment on the schedule, charges posted for the day in green, and a completed SOAP note was added. This confirms that all requirements have been met. I can also scroll up a little bit. You can also check if the patient has upcoming appointments and determine whether additional scheduling or payment collection is needed. I can quickly see that information here. If you need more detail on charges, you can click into the transaction snapshot to open the ledger where you can review or edit charges. To manually complete the appointment, you can use the Complete button or select Completed from the drop-down menu. Now let's talk about incomplete appointments. After a day has passed, any appointment on the calendar that has not been marked as completed will show in your incomplete queue. This queue should be monitored regularly, ideally daily, but at minimum weekly. A high number of incomplete appointments usually indicates a workflow issue or a gap in system usage. When you open the incomplete queue, you'll see that appointments are grouped by provider. I can collapse providers that I don't want to see, which in this context refers to the calendar. Depending on your setup, calendars may be named after providers, services, or appointment types. You can collapse sections to focus only on the calendars relevant to you. So maybe if I am Dr. Albus, I'm only working off of my incomplete queue. You can see here the patient's name, the type of appointment, and the date. To clear the incomplete queue, you need to complete the missing steps, such as adding charges or completing a SOAP note. So what do I do if I have appointments in my incomplete queue and I need to clean them up? The first and foremost is to always put in information that is missing. The first method is I can complete an appointment when I'm putting in the charges for a backdate by linking the appointment with the charges. So I'm going to use this patient as an example, and I am also missing charges for that 1008 adjustment. So I'm going to go to New Transaction. I'm immediately going to backdate this transaction to match the date of the appointment. I'm going to put in my charges and then select the appointment that these charges are related to. So I want to make sure that my 10-8 and my 10-8 match. Do you want to mark the above appointment as completed? I would say yes. Again, only mark yes once we have all the necessary information in Submit. And so now that appointment, as you can see, it just marked as completed, and it will leave my incomplete queue. Additionally, I can manually mark an appointment as completed. You can also go to that day on the calendar and manually mark an appointment as completed. So if I need to go through and clean up Monday and make sure everyone on Monday is taken care of, I can see this appointment is completed because it's grayed out. This one is not. The incomplete queue serves as your safety net to ensure nothing is missed. So again, we suggest that you monitor your incomplete queue often daily, if at the most weekly. To summarize, a completed appointment in Chi-Rho HD requires an appointment on the calendar, charges on the ledger, and a completed SOAP note. These elements ensure there is a full record of the visit, from scheduling to services performed to clinical documentation. As you get into your daily workflow, marking appointments as completed, whether manually or through autocomplete, becomes quick and efficient and helps keep your office organized and compliant.